So Derek, it's been a while since we've sat down and had a chat, but looking at the first 9 games of the season in comparison to the first 9 games of last season, it's been a bit of a turnaround.
Yeah, you wouldn't think we were the same club, would you? I think it's by and large a continuation of the back end of last season. I think we won 5 out of the last 10 games because we'd 1 game that carried over. We had a good pre-season. And despite losses at Accies and Curry here, I think by and large we've been pretty consistent over the course of the first 9 games, and it's both pleasing and frustrating at the same time that we've left some league points out there. Couple of draws and a potential scalp down in Hawick, only for some indiscipline in the back end of the game that afforded them 3 points. We could have been even further up the league than we are just now. So it's a nice position to be in, reflecting on feeling like how we're going to survive last year to almost the dizzying heights of the top 4 of the table in the back end of the first 9 games. So completely different place to be, which presents some different problems for us, which is good.
So looking back then to those first kind of 3 games, obviously it was the draw against Kelso to start the season, and then those 2 losses against Accies and Curry. What do you think then was the turnaround going into obviously what was quite a hectic double header in the Borders, the game against Heriots, and also the trip to Hawick?
Yeah, look, we've broken the season up into 4 blocks with a clear picture of what we want to get out of each of those blocks in terms of league points, in terms of wins on the board, average points conceded, which we're a little bit off on those, but we also talk about taking league points from pretty much every game that we play, and the only game that we've not picked up a league point in was that fixture against Curry. So even though we'd only picked up 4 points in those first 3 games, there was still room to achieve the target that we set over the first 5, which really allowed us to narrow our focus in on that sort of double raid of the Borders, as it were, going to Jed and going to Selkirk. And then we just took that momentum into the subsequent set of games, where I think we've only lost once in the past sort of 4 or 5. So yeah, I think not looking at the season in its totality on the back end of 1 or 2 losses really helps, because we can just freshen things up and reset at the end of each mini block that we've set up throughout the year.
And then obviously this block, there was the high scoring draw here against Glasgow Hawks, topping it off though with the win against Mar, winning the Bill McLaren Shield as well. What was the emotions like obviously after that, and then now being in the top 4 as well?
Look, I suppose first and foremost the draw against Hawks is really frustrating. By and large, it was our errors, our mistakes, us going to sleep, gave them a hook into the game. And I think Yo-Yo summed it up really nicely on Saturday to say, any team that wants to beat us has to go out and score 30 points or more. And that's a really good place to be. I mean, last year we didn't have anybody score more than 7 tries in the league, so we didn't have anybody in the sort of top set in the offside line of top try scorers. Now we've got 2 with Sandy Watt number 1 and Baden Horst in the back end with 5 tries. We've got a 4 try bonus in 8 out of our 9 games, and so on the attacking side of the ball we're really, really good. Defensively we need to become a little bit harder to beat on that side, so it was really pleasing against Mar. For the most of that game we held them out. We almost prevented them from getting a 4 try bonus. Some fatigue, complacency setting in on the back end of that game, but denying them a bonus point at the end was really nice from the ruthlessness that we want to develop. We talked the week before about an 80-minute performance, and I think certainly we showed that against Mar away, and the challenge for us now is, can we start to do that week to week and move away from these sort of what Callum describes as beige patches within games, where we tend to go MIA, drift out of the game, and then feel like, for example, against Hawks when we're 17 points down, now it's time to play. Just can't give teams that sort of a hook, especially when there's no surprises going into the second round.
So going into that second round, obviously it starts away at Kelso and then running against the Accies and Curry as well, and then following that up with the double-header with the Borders clubs. The main focus going into those games, what is the key going down to Kelso, which is obviously a very tough place to go this season?
Yeah, look, I'll try not to give too much away, but I did a calculation of what it takes to finish in the top four across the last 10 years in the Premiership, minus obviously the 2 years that we had COVID, and it takes on average 57.3 points at the end of the season to do that. We just need to maintain what we're doing if we want to finish in the top four, and we're over halfway there. Kelso at the weekend is going to be pretty tough. We know they are ultra competitive on the defensive side of the ball, both on the floor and on the air in terms of their kicking game and the kick chase, so we need to be ready for that. And then, you know, Accies and Curry, you know, they're games that we've struggled in the past couple of years to give a really good account of ourselves over the 80 minutes. So our focus really is to have a good go at Accies here, Curry away, and set ourselves up for that double header at home. We've got an idea in our mind of the amount of league points that we want to take over the first 5 games, but I'll not give that away just now until I speak to the players.